হইছি ফ্রাইডল্যান্ড যাব, ওখানে একটা মিউজিয়াম আছে। আমার বন্ধু পুরো গ্রুপ নিয়ে যাইতেছি ট্রেনে করে। There is a
Hello,
chicken.
the French girl is still there.
এটাতে চিকেন আমাদের।
The chicken what?
আমরা আজকে যাইতেছি
That
ফ্রিডল্যান্ডে।
was the golden time when everybody knew about the Yakuza. It was entirely shocking.
ফিনল্যান্ড চলে আসছি। ও মাই গড, সামওয়ান ওয়ানা কিক মি। আমার বন্ধুরা সবাই ও ফিনল্যান্ড মিউজিয়ামটা হলো একটা ট্রানজিট মিউজিয়াম। সেকেন্ড ওয়ার্ল্ড ওয়ারে যুদ্ধ শেষে এই ফিনল্যান্ডের কাছের এলাকায়, এই এলাকাটাকেই বর্ডার ধরছে রাশিয়ান অধিকৃত অংশ এবং ইউএসএ অধিকৃত অংশ। তখন এই এলাকা হয়ে বেসিক্যালি রাশিয়া থেকে কোনো মানুষ যদি জার্মানির অংশ ঢুকতে চায় অথবা ইউএসএর অংশ ঢুকতে চায়, এই এলাকা হয়ে বেসিক্যালি ঢুকছে। তখন থেকে এটাকে মিউজিয়াম হিসাবে রূপান্তর করছে এবং পরবর্তীতে এই কার্যক্রমকে এখনও সচল রাখছে। সাথে সাথে তখনকার যে ব্যবস্থাপনা ছিল ওই পুরো বিষয়টাকে এখন একটা মিউজিয়াম আকারে ধারণ করছে।
Friedland was just one of many, there were many of these border transit camps all over Germany.
More than ever before, are fleeing from wars and dictatorships, from hunger or catastrophes. They're forcibly resettled, expelled, deported, often in the name of cultural purity and ethnic homogeneity. In Europe, flight, expulsion, deportation and state-organized murder, largely originating in Germany, reached their peak in the mid-20th century. On the 1st of September 1939, the Second World War begins when German troops invade Poland. Within a year, the Wehrmacht has a large part of Europe under German control. In the occupied territories in Central Eastern Europe, the Nazis immediately start to put a racist population policy into practice. Their objective is the Germanization of large parts of Eastern and Central Eastern Europe. In those parts of Poland incorporated in the German Reich, the Nazi administration establishes a Deutsche Volksliste to register ethnic Germans. The people in these territories are all investigated to determine their level of Germanness. Only those taken onto the list are granted German citizenship and enjoy the associated rights. Poles and Jews are automatically excluded. Hundreds of thousands of Jews are deported to ghettos. The Polish population, classified by the Nazis as not eindeutschungsfähig, literally not Germanizable, are displaced or sent to the German Reich as forced labor. At the same time, under the Heim ins Reich campaign between 1939 and 1944, 1 million ethnic Germans are resettled in the occupied Polish territories, often against their will. They're taken to the new administrative district of Reichsgau-Wartheland and housed in the open. Hundreds of thousands of people pass through its gates.
So why did the British decide to? First of all, as you can see on this map here, Friedland is very close to this, the former Soviet zone, the occupation zone, and also quite close to the former American occupation zone. So therefore, the location here was quite to Friedland only in 1945. And as you read here at the wall transit camp opened at the 20th of September in 1945. So the way how people actually came to Friedland, most people were traveling from east to west. There were also some going from west to east, but most of the people were actually going from east to west. And a lot of them came from the former eastern territories of Germany, East Prussia, if you heard of it maybe before. And they were transported in trains to Germany. But the last train station was in the Soviet occupation zone. This was the train station Arnolfshausen, which is just a few kilometers from the border, and there all the people had to get off.
And nationality. The letters DR stand for Deutsches Reich, German Reich, and are entered onto the cards even well into the late 1940s. The reasons for the present flight are then noted. These are divided into A. Return to one's homeland, B. Expelled from. Here, the last place of residence is entered for refugees and expellees from the former German Eastern Territories. For released POWs, the Wehrmacht unit is entered. C. Released from war captivity. The present route taken is noted under the details on the starting point of the present flight and the desired destination. For refugees and expellees, the starting point doesn't usually coincide with the place of expulsion, since many people were stranded in the Soviet occupation zone at the end of the war. The physicians and authorities use the back of the registration card for their notes. In particular, handwritten notes on illnesses are added here. Aside from a stamp with the date of registration, the other mandatory stamps include marching ration, disinfected, and disease-free. The registration card also has several tear-off food stamps for meals during a stay in the Friedland transit camp. The transit camp registration card serves as an ID and has to be presented to the authorities at the future place of residence. It entitles the holder to a ration card and housing. The Friedland transit...
Last year in Friedland, despite from the registration refugees, it was also very important for tracing people, actually. And first I want to talk about the child tracing service of the Red Cross. A lot of children after World War II were separated from their families because of... it was a huge media event here in Friedland, like TV stations from all over the world, or like international TV stations came here and were reporting about what happened here in Friedland and about the situation when the people were arriving here in Friedland. And I want to show this installation. Maybe by watching what you will see now, pay attention to the guild and to the guild.
Live from the Friedland camp. It's a deeply moving moment, seeing the thousands gathered below, lining the route to the camp and parade ground, where the returnees are to be welcomed. As I'm speaking to you, the first coaches are arriving on the reception ground at the Friedland returnee camp. All the German broadcasters are now linked up, all the West German broadcasters, and the cameras are going into action. And suffer for over 10 years. How's it looking down there? The opening speeches must be due at any moment. Meanwhile, I've been surrounded by a packed crowd and can move just as little as those who've arrived on the reception ground. Hello, congratulations on your return. Would you like to say hello to someone? This is Ernst Wissermann from Hagen Hengstedt. I'd like to send my love to my aged mother, my wife, my daughter Doris, and my son, Eberhard.
Meine Tochter Doris und mein Sohn Eberhard.
Through to the reception round. The welcome speech is by Professor Dr. Theodor Oberländer, Federal Minister for Refugees.
Herr Bundesvertretenminister, Herr Bundesminister Professor Dr. Oberländer.
Liebe Heimkehrer, meine
Dear returnees, dear comrades, you have suffered terrible and inconceivable things. And you have survived it all, thousands of kilometers away from us, in exemplary comradeship.
hast alles verstanden bis heute.
It is in this sense that you have sacrificed your youth, your health, and your freedom for us.
Eure Freiheit für uns geopfert habt.
We thank you for all that you have endured,
Wir danken
for our sakes.
für all das, was ihr für uns gelitten habt.
Und nun darf ich
It's now my privilege to ask the most honourable President of the Federal Republic of Germany to say a few words of welcome.
Liebe Landsleute, Heimkehrer aus dem fernen Osten.
Dear compatriots, returnees from the distant east. And finally, please, the last verse, first prisoners of war, with great sympathy.
Der Deutsche Bundestag gibt
Together with the German people, the German Parliament joyfully welcomes their rescue and return. My fellow members of Parliament, we all wish for the returnees to find that not only their own private sphere, but also their transformed homeland may become a place of a new happiness.
zu einer Stätte neuen Glückes werden.
The price is paid. They come home from a country which cannot forget their crimes, to a country which cannot forgive their captivity. A frontier is crossed, and 9,000 war criminals become 9,000 heroes. Strange things, frontiers. Dear Tintin, who has seen my son? By their return, won't cause the bitterness of being settled. The world hopes new seeds of bitterness have not been sown. The price is paid, but is the lesson learned?
Here, it is more often, say like hostile, maybe more and more. The processes here got more professional by that time. The refugees from Chile and then about the refugees from Vietnam, because they are also a bit interesting in comparison to each other. But first about the Chile people. So these are so-called, how do I say it in English, contingent refugees. So these are refugees who are in refugee camps outside Europe. So, for example, in Lebanon, in Libya, in Turkey, and Germany has a specific contingent. Also, some first language courses, integration courses. The start of the integration courses you can also do here in